Cass was sitting by the fountain in the park waiting for her girlfriend Abby to show up. Because today was the mark of a special day, the second anniversary of their being a couple. They actually started dating at the senior year of high school. It was actually Abby who asked Cassie out on a date. She was really excited, and that Abby took the courage to even ask her out. And as she was sitting there waiting, there was something else she had in mind that was going to happen during the second anniversary. Cassie was planning to propose to Abby. Soon she heard a voice, "Sorry I'm late." She turned and saw Abby running up to her, a girl in her light pink hair, and Cassie stood up and they hugged each other and gave each other a kiss. But Cassie said with a smile, "You're only a few minutes late. You don't have to be worrying about it. Sorry again. I had to do something to get back home. It's fine. It's fine, Abby. So, what do you have in mind for our second anniversary?" "Well, considering my money is tight at the moment, how about we just grab an ice cream and just sit in the park?" "Yeah, that sounds great." So they went to a nearby ice cream shop, bought some ice cream, and went back to the park, sat down, just enjoyed it. They just talked about old high school memories, even though they had known each other since the first year of high school. But it wasn't until the senior year when Abby took the courage to ask Cassie out. She was really thrilled when Abby took the courage to do so. After they finished the ice cream, they just sat there on the bench and just relaxed a bit more until Cassie stood up and stood in front of Abby, and then suddenly went on her knees and she said, "Abby, I know we had only been dating for about 2 years, and during those 2 years I have felt more excited than I had ever done in my entire life. So I just wanted to ask, do you want to marry me?" When Abby saw the ring, she was dumbfounded. She started crying, but it was a joy. She said yes. They shared another kiss. Cassie suggested that they will eventually introduce Abby as her fiancée to Cassie's parents. Abby said they could probably do that in this weekend, since they have a lot of other things to do, and Cassie had no problem with it. So, when she got home that same evening, she was having dinner with her family when she said, "Mom, Dad, do you have any plans for the weekend?" Not really. What do you mean? Do you have anything else?" "Well, I actually proposed to my partner today." "Oh, but that's great." And, well, it was a yes. So, I wanted to bring my fiance here this weekend so I can introduce you for the first time. "Yeah, we would love to meet your fiance." Abby's parents knew the fact that she has been dating someone since high school, but since they had been so busy with their work, they never met her. The only one who in the family who knew about her and Abby was her older brother, Hugo. But Hugo left the city and the state and was now living in Georgia. He had met Abby a few times already though. And that same evening, Cassie texted Abby telling her that her parents are thrilled about their engagement and really looking forward to meet her. That same weekend, Abby came over, and when she knocked on the door, Cassie's mom opened the door. "Oh, hey, Abby. Is it best that maybe you come over to the next time because we having a guest over But then Cassie walked over to the door. Abby, you're just in time. And Cassie's mom was really surprised and a little bit, well, she was more shocked. Cassie, what do you mean? I thought that your fiance is coming over and Abby should come over next time, not the time. Mom, it may be best to be saying this, but Abby is my fiance. Cassie's mom looked at her daughter, stunned. What do you mean? Did I mention that to you? I mean, Abby is my fiance. No, you never told us that was Abby. But then her dad walked in the hallway. What is the commotion about? Honey, it seems there was some confusion about this fiance of our daughter. Oh? Well, turns out her friend Abby is her fiance. Cassie's dad was stunned and looked at Abby, who was standing by the door in her light pink hair with a big smile. Then her dad said, Cassie, can we talk to you for a moment in the kitchen? Yeah. Cassie, are you for real? Abby, your fiance? Please tell us this is some sort of joke. Cassie took this as offensive. No, Abby is my fiance. We have been dating for the past 2 years. I proposed to her earlier this week. Sweetie, you can't be serious if you've been dating a girl, do you? Well, yeah, why not? I mean, many people do that these days. Yeah, but it's just so wrong, you know? A girl should be with a guy or with a boy, not a girl. It was then when Cassie realized her parents would never accept Abby as their daughter-in-law. Mom, Dad, this is modern times. Get used to it. You have to accept that Abby is going to be your daughter-in-law. I'm not marrying anyone else. That's final. But her parents said, Abby will never be our daughter-in-law. Just tell her to leave right now, her dad said, almost a bit quiet so that Abby wouldn't even hear. Abby, who was still standing by the door, couldn't have been hearing any of this conversation at all. But Cassie, she stood firm. She told her parents, no, if you don't accept her as my wife or future wife, I don't even understand what you're even against in the first place. It's just wrong, Cassie's mom said. But Cassie stood still once again firm in her belief. What if your brother even knows about this? But then, another bombshell. He knows about me and Abby. He had actually known it for the past 2 years. And he is thrilled that I'm marrying her. Her parents' jaws dropped. It turns out that they wasn't even aware that their oldest son, Hugo, had been aware of this relationship between Abby and Cassie for the past 2 years. You are not saying that our son is supporting this idiotic idea, do you? He is. And he is thrilled for me. And after that, she just said anything more and just turned and left. She made up an excuse to Abby that they should probably leave because her mom wasn't feeling well. So they left. But that same weekend, that they decided to stay in Abby's family's home because they told Abby's family, and they were happy. They were supportive. But they never mentioned this since Abby wasn't even herself not even aware of this fight that Cassie had with her parents. She texted her brother and he wasn't happy about it. He wanted to call their parents to confront them, but Abby told him not to. It would only make the whole thing worse. So she told her brother just simply hold on with that type of conversations with their parents. And after that next day, she went home. Her parents wasn't even home as usual since they did work. And since she was still living with her family, she didn't have anywhere else to go other from Abby's family home. But she didn't even go that far, if it would come to that. So for the next several weeks, as they were having, as she was having dinner with her family, nothing seems to be being the difference. They never talked to her about their supposed engagement or telling her to break off. But one day, it hit the boiling point. Because one day, Cassie's parents had invited an old friend of theirs, and they had his son with them. And his name was Mark. Mark was someone that Cassie was vaguely familiar with. She had met him a few times when they were growing up. And during dinner, his dad said, "Oh, it's gonna be great for this happened." Cassie was a little bit curious and even asked, "What's gonna happen?" "Oh, did your parents tell you that they're hoping that you and Mark is getting married?" "But what?" "No, it's the news. It's a whole new to me." But her mom said in a quiet tone that not even Mark and his dad heard, "Just get along with it." And she was even curious to know exactly what is going on. So, even though that she just wanted to break out the news, it's not gonna happen. Every time when she tried to, parents looked at her with a big smile, but somehow she could sense it was much anger, so she didn't do it. After Mark and his dad had left, Cassie confronted her parents immediately. "What did you even try to do?" "We are trying to make you realize that you can't marry a girl. Mark is the same age as you. You know him." "I barely know him. Last time I saw him was like 2 years ago. And your friends is his dad. I mean, you really want me to set up me with a marriage with him? Have you even thought of he may not even want this?" "Of course he wants to. He had a crush on you." "And how do you know that?" "He told us," Cassie's mom said. But Cassie just shook her head and said, "Not in a million years would I ever marry Mark. I don't even like him." "You will get used to it, because you will marry him. That's it." But Cassie had no other intention to do so. She texted Abby and she said that next day she will come over and she will have to talk to her parents as well. And she did. Her parents was first thrilled to see her again, but after she told them what was going on, Abby was furious. First at Cassie. First, not because of that she even told her about this, but she understood that she didn't want to make her angry and heartbroken, because she didn't want to give Abby false hope. Because Cassie tried to explain to Abby and her family that she had been trying to convince her parents to approve this marriage. But no matter how many times she tried, it wouldn't even work. "It's okay, sweetie," said Abby. "You try your best. But honestly, do you think it's the best idea to just stay there? You never know what's going to happen." "She's right," said Abby's dad. "It's best you move out soon enough, because you have no idea what your parents can actually have planned for you. Maybe force you to sign up the marriage papers and all that. Cassie realized that Abby's dad may have a point. Because flooded for a few days after that dinner with Mark and his dad. Her parents had dropped the hints on the marriage papers all the time because David brought it home and Mark had already signed his name in it. And, well, she could not even allow it. So, that same weekend, as her parents was going to be out of town for a couple of days, Cassie had enough. Luckily, she didn't have that many personal belongings at home anymore. Only a few personal things. She called her brother Hugo. Is this? What's the matter? You sound tense. Well, this and that and then she explained every single detail. Wow, that's so messed up, even for our parents. You know, how about this? Come here to New Georgia. You can stay with me, no problem. Are you sure? No problem at all. Me and my wife had a lot of space anyways. So she talked to him and asked if it was possible if Abby could also move with her to Georgia. Absolutely. My wife loves Abby, so I mean, better than nothing, I guess. So after that, she texted Abby, and Abby texted her back after she asked her parents for permission. And they both approved it. And since they decided to do this in the weekend, so Abby and Cassie, along with her parents, went over to Cassie's home again that same weekend, packed some of the things that she had, and took the plans, and ordered for all this to happen. Abby's parents had arranged a plane ticket for both of them, a one-way ticket to Georgia. And even on the way there, they were so nervous, but they were happy to finally be free from Cassie's family's grasp. And at the airport, unfortunately Hugo wasn't there, but Hugo's wife was there to pick them up. She took them home, she served them some food and some drinks, and they just sat there and talked. Later, Hugo came home, and he was happy to see both Cassie and Abby was safe. But not long after, when the weekend was over, Cassie's parents blow her phone up, demanding to know where she is. But then, Hugo said on the phone, hey mom, yeah, Abby's and Cassie are actually here. Wait, both of them there? Okay, you have to send your sister home immediately. So they can marry this Mark guy? No way. If you don't do that, me and your dad will disown both of you. Go ahead. We don't even care if you disown me. That was a plan that they had hoped that their son would comply, but it backfired big time. Then their dad on the phone. Son, if you don't have your sister over here right now or by end of tomorrow, we will definitely disown you. Like I said to mom, go ahead. I don't even care anymore. I'm only married. I have a decent job. I have no problem with that. And if I don't even want to have your lousy inheritance anyway. I'm glad of you out there. Abby and her and Cassie are hopeful and happily to be away from their places too. Even though Abby's family is supporting their relationship. So good luck. And after that, he has to hang on the call, block the number, and even blocked their number on his phone as well. And his wife did the same. They later heard from a mutual friend that this marriage paper that Mark had supposed signed was actually not even his signature. Turned out Mark's dad did it. Well, at least they assumed it was, but Mark was already engaged to someone else. And he had no intention to be that, so this story about him being in love with Abby and with Cassie was a total lie. Because Cassie did reach out to Mark to almost demand to get some answers. When he said, blown her away, "What? Seriously? They tried to make me marry you? But I'm already engaged. You had to tell your dad that. Tried, but he didn't even believe me. After he saw me with my fiance, he must have signed the papers anyways and hoping that we would get married anyways. But I'm planning to move out soon." And Ab and Cassie encouraged him to do so. And even after this, Cassie and Abby still lived with her brother's place for a while longer, and they started working almost right after. They were saving up enough money. It took them about a year until they were managed to buy their own small house, with a little bit of help from Hugo and his wife. And they decided to only have a courthouse wedding. They didn't want to have a big one, but the only ones that was invited as a witness was Abby's parents, and of course, their old friend Jason. Jason was another friend from back home who was also very supportive of this. And when he heard that Abby and Cassie just left town, he had no idea why. But when they reached out to him to inform him why, he was furious. Because he had lost not only his two friends, but without an explanation, but now he knew. And after they was married, both Abby and Cassie moved into the small home together. Both Abby and Cassie couldn't be more happy enough to be finally married. Even though that Cassie's parents had tried to reach out to her on social media, but she blocked their on that as well. And after about 2 years of being married, at the time, their old friend Jason had moved all the way to Georgia to be closer to their friends. And they wanted to start a family, so he was more than willing to help them with this. And Cassie decided she wanted to be pregnant first. And she, in fact, had a daughter, which they named Jane. And about 2 more years later, they had a son, which Abby had. And they named him Robin. During this time, Jason literally was even appointing as their father, even though they didn't mind that, and he wouldn't mind to be as their father figure in their lives. Ever since Jane and Robin was born, Cassie had posted photos of her children on social media, but since her parents had since been blocked, and they couldn't even reach out to her, so a family friend tried to reach out to Cassie, asking if it was possible for her parents to reach out to her to meet her and their grandchildren. But Cassie firmly said no. She doesn't even have parents anymore. In fact, she doesn't even want to have nothing to do with them ever again. Even though the family friend tried to begging, but then she asked if they would allow Abby to be there. So the family friend had asked, and they told her, their family friend, they only want to meet Cassie and the grandchildren because they don't see Abby as a family friend or as a family member. That was the proof enough for Cassie that they still don't treat Abby as a part of family. So she told the family friend, they made their own statement after all this. The family friend understood exactly what was going on and said that they would never be involved in this drama again, and they took her side. In fact, over time, all the remaining family members took Cassie's side, and never her parents. And for that, Cassie was just happy that they don't have to be involved in their lives ever again. Even though Cassie may wondered, how would the things been if she had introduced Abby to her parents way before the engagement? Especially like when they started dating back in high school. After all, Cassie's parents had met Abby several times before, but they assumed that she was just a friend and nothing else. But when they eventually learned that they were now dating and engaged, they couldn't even accept it. But the only one that was allowed to see Jane and Robin was, in fact, Abby's parents, and of course, Hugo and his wife, and even Jason. But also some other relatives from Cassie's side, but not her parents. They were totally forbidden to ever see them. Of course, it would be up to Jane and Robin if they want to meet their grandparents when they're old enough to understand why. And Cassie and Abby aren't trying to make them to look as the bad guys, but only to make their kids to understand what their grandparents tried to do all those years ago. It happened from time to time that Cassie did wonder if her parents would have accepted Abby as her fiancée and later wife. They may not even have moved all the way to Georgia. It would have been more happier times. But no. Her parents made a choice even back then before they were even married. So that is their choice, what they wanted to do. Even though Cassie is happy to have made her choice to finally be with Abby. And Abby is happy that she made the same choice. Because if they had broken up, Cassie would even still not even dating Mark or anyone else that her parents had even introduced her to. In fact, she may have even moved out and cut ties with her family even then. Because if they forced her to abandon Abby, she would never have forgiven her parents whatsoever. It happens that Cassie, from time to time, look at her parents' social media just to see what they've been up to. They don't do much. They just simply forget about Cassie exists. And she's happy about that, and she didn't even really care. As long as she's happy to be with Abby and their two children, that's all that matters to her. And this is how Cassie and Abby found a true love, got a big family together. The end.